Hi there, it's Ian again, or Slothie as I'm known. I'm just going to show you around my world a bit more. I've missed a couple of things last time, and a quick update on the villager trading station, which I've found the time to complete. I'll just switch over. Oops, that's the one. Ooh, here we are in the basement again. Nothing much as yet. We didn't go down the mine, so I'm going to quickly just pop down there just to show you the amount of mining I have to do. These top layers are just when I was clearing out caves, so I actually only got coal and iron from those. This is my main mine, which goes down. I've got strips either side. I stagger the strips over so I don't get that problem that Data had and a few other people had of running out of one strip straight into another and getting lost. One trick I do with mining, by the way, which is when I'm going out, I always place the torches on the right, so that when you're coming back, they're always on your left. A very simple trick, but one which would which has saved me many times. So you can see I've got a fair old way. This is the mining I've done since up to here, since I've been mining under the tower. This actually connects up with the mining I did under the hobbit hole slightly. If you go right to the bottom where the ladder is, it goes through down here. It's a block lower because I miscounted when I dug down for the hobbit hole. Level 11, which is not tragic. It just means you tend to run into the side of lava rather than just above it, which can be a little bit alarming. I did step straight into pools of lava a few times. As you can see, there's lots and lots of strips I've blocked off with earth because nasties were coming out of them, and I kind of didn't bother mining that further back. Anyway, mines are not terribly interesting. I haven't found anything terribly exciting apart from the odd spawner, which we've already talked about. But I'd sort of dug out here when I was digging the mine for my for the tower. This mine used to go further. I didn't actually got to the point of actually cutting the strips out. I just marked them out, which I like to do. And so I just filled it in a bit so that it was at level 12. And we come along here, which means when I cut strips on this side, I have to fill in a couple of blocks straight off. So, which is a bit off. But that's kind of stopped now because I've got beyond the extent of the original main shaft, which was up here. As you can see, I've stopped at mining out the coal and redstone because I've got loads of it. But at least I know from this point onwards, if I need coal or redstone, all I've got to do is run down here and take it all out. So it just means you don't fill up your inventory and you go further, which increases your chance of finding the things you are looking for, like diamonds or gold. Gold is less of a problem for me now because I've built a gold farm. Not quite working yet. I tend to die a lot using it, but that will probably be the subject of a future video when I've tidied it up, because it looks a real mess now. And it doesn't always work. So, well, it does. It works very well, except zombies are killing me. Zombie pigmen. But there's plenty to see. Plenty to see. Oh yes. I've got ladders everywhere. I like ladders. I haven't yet found another way of getting up that beats it. Hello, why have I got no door there? That's interesting. A door has disappeared. Perhaps a zombie beat it down or something and I just haven't noticed. Oh well. Down to the villager training area, which when you last saw it in the last video was looking like a huge cave with a load of redstone in it. I've gone to a little bit of trouble to tidy things up a little bit. As you can see, it's down here. I've colourfully patched up the hole in the wall there. I was just trying that out actually, because I think the bricks are a bit vivid. Really, I might change those back to stone brick, or cobblestone or something. But here we are. This was pretty much what it looked like. The back of the trading area is complete now. All the redstone's been put in. It's a very simple design. It's just basically an RS NOR latch which controls the piston at the top. I might do a little tutorial on that if anyone wants any. But I'm using water to move the villagers around rather than mine carts or anything like that. Mainly because I was having a lot of trouble with those activator rails, getting them to drop the villagers at the right places, or the zombies for that matter. Not that the water streams were completely trouble free, but here is the trading hall. As you see, I've got lighting, I've got a nice cleric. Hello, cleric. I do a lot of business with him. Gold and diamond, gold and rotten flesh for emeralds, and as you see, I've accumulated quite a few already. I bought a load of ender pearls off the cleric, which makes these ender chests, which are a bit of a boon. There's a toolsmith there who's not tremendously useful. Another librarian who sells this Luck of the Sea book. Not so good. And but he does do a decent deal on the bookshelves, so he hasn't bit the dust just yet. And there's Respiration 3, which is extremely useful, because that's one that doesn't seem to turn up very often on the Fortune 2. And of course name tags, although those are a bit pricey. Respiration 3 doesn't turn up a lot on the enchanting table for some reason. This one's my star, because he does, for a book and 7 emeralds, Silk Touch. Now Silk Touch, that's something which hardly ever turns up on the enchanting table. It's an extremely rare one, so this guy's worth a million of those. And I think he does Aqua Affinity, that's it, which is okay. And Depth Strider 2. Now Depth Strider 2 is not the highest Depth Strider, but you can always combine 2 books to make a Depth Strider 3. Although 22 emeralds, I don't know. I've still got some Depth Strider books which I've got off the enchanting table. 20 emeralds for a name tag. So yeah, we're doing quite well. And there's nice Mr. Butcher, who I sell my raw chicken to, which is why I converted the chicken farm in anticipation of his arrival. Another butcher there. I did well for butchers. I've got 3 of them. That one's got the best chicken deal, I think, at the moment. Another librarian. What's the book he does? Sharpness 3, which is handy if you're doing swords. And fire protection is no good. And Unbreaking 2. Well, again, Unbreaking 2, not the best Unbreaking, but you can combine 2 to make an Unbreaking 3. 21 emeralds isn't outrageously high for that. Unbreaking is one of those enchants that, well, it never seems to come up for me. I'm told that it's and then here we've got, last is a Fletcher. I haven't got a farmer. I'm looking for a farmer. The Fletcher doesn't really do much for me, to be honest, but I haven't quite decided whether to throw him into the dungeons, or should I say the pit of lava. But I call it the dungeons because that sounds less alarming to the villagers. The ceiling is granite, which is that sort of pinkish colour, which is polished granite. It looks quite nice. The floor is a checkerboard of andesite and polished andesite. I tried lots of stone combinations. I wanted to make this room out of the new stones, and I found that, excuse me, I found the polished and unpolished andesite as a checkerboard looks quite nice. So it's subtle, I think is the word. As you can see, I've walled up the area. I can still get up the top here. I can jump up here and fix things, and if I want to get on the roof, I can just go through here. You see, This is where all the redstone... These are the switches for the lights downstairs. I never intend to switch them off. So I haven't wired them downstairs or anything. If you switch the lights off, then that's just going to invite zombies in here. And we don't want zombies, do we? No. There's a slight bug in the water channels in that occasionally it seems to drop zombies in here with this poor toolsmith. So far I've managed to get to them and kill the zombie before he kills the toolsmith. I don't know why they just stood there, but they did, and I just killed them. So I'm going to have to investigate that. Around the top, diorite blocks, and they don't do diorite stairs, so I used this birch. The birch wood is very white and it seems to fit in quite nicely and makes it look very decorative. I'm not a huge one for making massive decor. The diorite blocks are needed for the tripwire hook switches, because you can't stick those onto non-solid blocks. So, I repeated that on the other side to make it look like it was supposed to be like that, and it does actually make it look quite quite ornate. Might stick a few plant pots in here. Decided I might actually put these chests in the ground so you just see the tops of them, because they do kind of stick out and get in the way. But that's all for the future. Anyway, enough of me yappering on about design. I'm not the most design oriented person. I'm not as keen on decorating as certain other YouTubers are. But I think that's quite cool. In order to trade with the librarian, I needed more reeds than my tiny little farm upstairs was producing, so I'll just pop to sleep so that the mobs outside don't kill me. Last time I walked outside, I was besieged and had to kill about 400 mobs. Well, not 400, but it seemed like it. Oops, let's just get rid of him. I'm not very good with the bow and arrow. Let's just hope I don't get creepered while I'm killing him off. My usual trick is to get a creeper sneak up behind me as I'm looking out the door. Let's go and pick up my my arrow. Oh, look. Talking of creepers, there we are. That's one of the downsides of doing so much extensive mining, is that you set foot outside and you're just mobbed. I really ought to put some lighting up down here. Now I've got the villager trading, I've got access to a virtually infinite supply of glowstone, so we might see some rather tacky but rather excitingly useful lighting out here. Anyway, what I was doing was I built a reed farm. That's the long and the short of it. I built it a ways away from the tower because I don't know whether I mentioned it in the last video, but this area over the back here I'm sort of reserving for large farms which are going to be supplying me with bits and pieces I need. In this case, reed. As you can see, it's oops, what have I done? Right, as you can see, I've built this reed farm here. Same design as what I was developing up in the tower. I've just made it a bit bigger. The rows of slime blocks, that's the word, are 12 long rather than 8, so I've got 12 plants on each side. So I've actually got 48 plants compared to the 8 I had before, and that means we get a much better productivity. That's churning out. I emptied it out recently. I think 3 chests is probably enough for the moment at the rate I'm emptying it anyway. And there's just the simple redstone around the back, which took a little while to get right and looks really ugly. It needs compressing or something. It's a bit kind of higgledy-piggledy, but I can deal with that later. I was just trying to get it to work. Right, well, let's get out of here. Oh, doesn't it look lovely? I still like my tower. Anyway, After we've shown you that, I think what we'll do is we'll just bounce up these steps. I'm just trying to think if I mentioned it last time. Yeah, I did, about the steps, what I'm planning to do. We'll just shut the door so we don't get any more break-ins. And oh, up to the nether. I'm not going to actually show you around the nether because I haven't really done an awful lot in the nether. I have discovered a fortress, but all I've done is light up bits of it, explore it, and not do much with it. There is a blaze spawner there, which I intend to turn into a blaze farm of some design. But what I really want to show you is my mob farm and slime farm, which are a short train journey through my nether hub away. And this was something I spent months building, this particular installation. I've got a little sort of temporary storage area up here, as you can see, which is where I kept all of the stuff I was using on the build. I've actually finished most of the work here, and this stuff's got to be taken back to the base. My slime farm is working, as you can see. I've got a little bit of slime block. Most of it I've moved back to the base. I've now got over 3 double chests full of slime blocks, and this is where pigmen come for holiday. Well, that's the way it seems. They come out the portal, and I think it's because perhaps the sun, they head straight into the water, and perhaps they can't get back out again. But I've just got tons and tons of pigmen here. But this is my mob farm, and I think we'll join the pigs for a swim, because we can get a better look at it if we just head out a little bit. It's heavily based on Data's laser torch of doom, except I've made it slimmer by stacking short lengths of the V's, rather like cups, paper cups in a stack. So the V's are in nested inside each other, just to make it a bit more compact. I'm not entirely sure that saves very much resource wise, but it makes it smaller. It makes it a different shape. This tube here is the drop tube, where the mobs drop down. They hit the splat pad about here, and I've got this rather crude sorting system on the side. It's awaiting the building of a surrounding building to make it look nice. The sorting is working very well. These chests are all now full, pretty much. I've got arrows, bones. I've got loads of gunpowder, so I'm pretty much set for life there. Ender pearls, I have 7 double chests full, I think, yes, and loads of rotten flesh, quite a bit of glowstone. This is all of it. I've taken some, converted it to glowstone, but this is glowstone dust, obviously. And these are all the other witch drops, plus some armour. Now, that's because I discovered my drop tube wasn't quite long enough. And zombies and skeletons that spawn with armour, and more in particularly feather falling boots, survive the fall. They're not far from being dead. You can often punch them to get rid of them, but as you can see, they do actually build up a bit, and I have to come up here every now and then and just give them a tap as they walk by. Sometimes you have to actually go out there, but and that's why I get bits of armour and the odd sort of zombie drop, etc. Oh, he's obviously got better armour than the others, and as you see, they do build up. I did on one occasion get a witch in there, which was a bit of a shame. But it's amazing they can sense you're there, but they don't come round to the front where I can kill them. Unless I open the door, in which case they sort of surge around. Interesting. It's part of the zombie mechanic, I presume. He's too far away. Unless I pop out there. I seem to have cleared up most of the problem. Yeah, then what I do is once the ones that are carrying the corner, I can just oh, that one's got a arrow. You can just come out here. This is where they drop down. The mobs all drop down here, as you can see. Oops, let's get out of the way. Have I got the sound switched off? I think so, yeah. It's very noisy here, but I will just quickly. I have a habit of leaving myself here AFK, and so obviously, oh yeah, that's a bit loud actually. Obviously I turn the volume off, otherwise it keeps me awake. I'll just leave myself here AFK, and what I do is I come up here, which is well lit. I've never died stood here. I tend to go away and leave myself looking at the ground just in case an Enderman comes up here. But I've only actually ever seen one come up here ever. And I've just got endless stuff. All that glowstone, all that was just generated by me standing here. It doesn't produce glowstone dust very quickly. But if you leave it running if I leave it running while I'm at work or overnight while I'm asleep, it doesn't really matter how slowly it accumulates. Of course, now I've got my trading system working, it's probably quicker to trade for it, but I still need this for the rotten flesh. Open the window. For the rotten flesh, there we are. I've taken some of the output and moved it into all these chests. So as you can see, I have huge stockpiles of everything, which is why I'm not going to worry about using this for a little while. I need to transfer all the stuff over to the base, but let's show you how it works. If I climb, you won't be able to see very much because it's obviously extremely dark in the spawning chamber, but I built a special feature into this mob farm. You can switch it off. It's lit up, and it's lit up extremely cheaply, as you'll very soon see. In order to light it up, however, I have to climb all the way to the top, and it's a long way. I don't know if you can see, I don't know how it will come out in the video, but these are the levels and they're nested in amongst each other. You can hear the pistons firing to push the mobs off the steps. Where are we going? Oh, this is a little platform I put in so I could stand there and operate this switch, which opens up the roof and lets a small amount of light in. Here I've got pistons, and they're holding back lava. And the lava, where is it? Oh, here we are. The lava will cascade down and light up the whole mob farm. That causes an enormous lag spike, which is why I kind of stopped. It takes a while, so but if we stop here, you can see I've got all this glass running down here, and the lava will descend to the bottom. It takes 20 seconds or so to light up the whole thing, which almost completely stops mob spawning. It's really me. It does, when you switch the pistons back on, it does take several minutes for the lava to sort of collapse down, which is the only real disadvantage of using lava, other than the fact that it also makes it a bit laggy. my frame rates would have dropped enormously because of the lava. But then again, they've risen because there won't be so many mobs in the area. As you can see, the lava still hasn't got down here. I didn't quite kill off all the zombies, obviously. It's an extremely tall structure, but I don't go up there very often to switch it on and off. Why am I coming down? I was going to show you the how it works. It's very simple. The mobs spawn on the pressure plates, which I'll show you as soon as I get up there. That's stupid of me. Here we are. Oops. I don't seem to have got the ladders right. They spawn on these pressure plates, and as soon as they appear, a signal goes into this block, switches the piston on, which pushes them off, and they drop to the next level down, where the same process will eventually drop them down that gap. The only problem, which you can sort of hear going on in the background, is with baby zombies, and the pistons miss them, and so they just wander backwards and forwards on the pads. I'm slightly surprised I can't see it. It must be behind there. Actually, we could jump down here, maybe a bit slow. Nope, can't see him. But eventually they fall off because baby zombies are extremely active. They run about and they just walk off. This drop of 3 blocks doesn't seem to bother them very much, and so they drop. They don't seem to bother the mob cap very much. I don't seem to get the chicken riders very much. Very rarely get any chicken in the thing, or even chickens fluttering about on that pad where the zombies are. So I'm not entirely sure what happens there. Whether the chickens, whether the riders get knocked off the chickens and the chickens just despawn after a while, or because I'm too far away, I don't know. Anyway, that's the first thing. My mob farm, that's been incredibly useful. The only problem with it, really, no spiders, which is why I've still got the smaller mob farm in the tower. Otherwise all my mob farming needs will be here. If you watch Data's video, you'll see that down the sides he had special spider spawners, and to correct that fault, which I didn't bother to do. Now the big surprise here is down there. Whee! You can just about see. I haven't got my respiration helmet on, so my health is quickly declining. But you can actually get down here without taking too much damage. Just eat something, and as you can see, there's the slimes down the bottom. This slime farm is ridiculously overproductive. I've got 4 double chests full there, and there's probably there's material there which this has completely filled up. I haven't bothered clearing it out, to be honest, because I've just got more slime than I know what to do with. There are 4 slime blocks here. I wasn't going to dig them all out, and I had a slight problem when I was doing. I just dug out the one right in front of me here, and I was getting hardly any spawns at all. So I thought, well, blow it. I know I've got 4 chunks here. I'll dig out all 4, and I still didn't get hardly any spawning, and it was actually driving me mad. I thought that this happened about the time 1.8 dropped, and I thought, oh, they've completely nerfed slime spawning. But actually the problem was not, as everyone was saying, oh, you've got to dig out the caves, because I'd done that, but I'd set my render distance down to 7, because at the time I was playing them on a laptop, and my laptop was pretty puny and couldn't cope with it. and if your render distance is less than 10, it severely affects mob spawning, to the point where if you're at 7, mobs eventually stop spawning completely, and it's like wandering about in peaceful mode, which is kind of nice in a way, but when you're expecting mobs, it's not so good. Yeah, it drove me mad, and it was only when I noticed that the entity counts were so low, and I pushed my render distance up, that things started spawning. And then subsequently, of course, I googled about, and it was mentioned on a couple of Minecraft wikis. The problem basically is that mobs spawn in areas, in clusters that aren't loaded, and because they're not loaded, they stay there and they're stuck, and eventually the number of mobs that are stuck build up to the mob cap levels, and no new mobs will spawn. And of course the ones that are around you will despawn because you're too far away from them. Anyway, this took me months and months and months. As you can see, it's built under the water, and I had to drop sand blocks to fill up this whole space. Then I put the glass over the top and dug all the sand out. Well, actually, I dug out, put some of the glass over, dug out the sand, used the sand to make glass, put some more glass down, dug out some more of the sand. It took a fair old while. I've fairly stripped the beach that's not far from here in order to get all of the sand. I did vast environmental damage to the local area in order to build this slime farm, but it was worth it, because I now have slime, well, more slime than I know what to do with, and that's rather cool. I'll just float up to the top, try not to suffocate. I normally have a Respiration 3 helmet which I use, and as you can see, just make it up here. Well, that's kind of what I've built out here. Over there is the village that I killed off. In fact, let's go and have a look at that, because I think we've still got plenty of day left. Because I did build a villager breeder there, and there's just one villager in it now, who's the one I locked up downstairs. He must be going potty by now with the loneliness, but I got it to the point where it was just starting to breed villagers, and I left a door open, and I wandered off to get some food to feed the villagers with, because I hadn't managed to breed a farmer at that point, so I was having to manually feed them so they would breed. And some sort of zombie got in and killed a lot of them. So, well, apart from the one that was walled up downstairs, and unfortunately, that was the end of my village and my villager breeding experiments. That's actually why I started the purification thing, because there aren't actually any more villages around here that I've been able to find for miles, and I have wandered far and wide. I've even checked out amidst to see if I missed any, and I didn't. So this bit of plains here, I think it is, just fills up with zombies. I don't understand it. I suppose perhaps it could be the one remaining villager. Whoopsie daisy. I nearly always walk into that chasm. It might be the one remaining villager is attracting them, I don't know. But I built this entire wall around the entire village to protect them, and then they died off due to a stupid mistake of mine. What I actually done is I was building the breeder, and I needed some dirt to plant the crops in. Here's the breeder here. So I just dug up a load of dirt around here, and in doing so I knocked out a lot of these torches, and of course I created a dark spot where a zombie could spawn. It ran around the corner here and up some stairs where you can just hear the one villager. Yeah, you can hear him is frantically slamming his doors down there. To to try and find what happened to everybody else. Oh, there he is. But unfortunately, they broke in up here. I left this door open, and they managed to get down into there. Hey ho. Anyway, that was the end of that experiment. I kind of left this all here because I thought, well, one day if I'm purifying zombies, etc., I can restart this and repopulate the village. Because I quite like the idea of this sort of walled village. And if I could fill it full of farmers, I could probably persuade them to produce lots of crops for me. Especially if I demolished a lot of the buildings. And, well, that's that. Well, I think this has been a long enough video. I have got other things to show you and projects I'm working on. But they can wait for some other day. Thank you very much. Please leave comments. I hope you enjoy it. And I'll try and get some more fun stuff to do for next time. This has all been a bit dry. Cheerio.